Hello, friends. Very warm welcome to our webinar. Our team is very happy to see all of you here today, and we really hope that our today's webinar will be super interactive, super exciting to you, and super insightful. So let's start our show. Andre?
Yeah, very warm welcome on behalf of the entire team of Consulting Masters to you. My name is Andre Homulenko, and herewith I would like to take an opportunity to say a big thanks to Lancaster University and its Consulting Club, and in particular to Fadi and Madalena. And I would like to give a word to Madalena to welcome all the participants.
Hi, thank you so much everyone for coming. I hope everyone enjoys and takes the most of this event. And if you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask. And let's do it.
Firstly, I will tell you about our today's webinar, and the topic of our today's webinar is how to crack the case interview. And this webinar will be by our two chief career coaches, Andre Homulenko and Gaurav Bhosle, who are our consulting masters. And so let's start our webinar. I will tell you our agenda for today's webinar. Firstly, I will explain you our format and rules. So I will tell you the duration of the webinar, and we'll explain you our rules, how you can ask the questions, and all of other organizational details. Then we will make a small introduction and tell you about us, about our company, and about some of our services. And then we will start our main content part. So we will explain you the main case mechanics. And after this, we will start our main part, interactive case interview simulation with Shivangi and Andre, and you will be able to see and understand how this case interview works, and also you'll be able to ask questions, to give us your feedback, as well as hear Andres and Gaurav's feedback on Shivangi's perform. And after this, we will share with you how you can start your preparation to the case interview and to the whole application process. And those of you who will stay with us till the end of the webinar will receive some goodies. The duration of the webinar is going to be 2 hours. And firstly, we will make a small introduction for 5 minutes. After this, we will start our content part. We will speak about interview mechanics for 15 minutes. And after this, I will make an interactive interview simulation, which is going to be approximately 40 minutes. And after this, we'll take a time for feedback and Q&A session for 30-40 minutes, and next steps for 20 minutes. As well, guys, please pay attention to the rules. Please mute till the end, unless you are asked to speak by moderator, so by me. And if you want to ask any questions, please write them in the chat during the webinar, and you will be asked to speak by me. And when I will ask you, please unmute yourself. So when I will ask you to speak, just as I said, you unmute yourself, turn on your camera, and introduce yourself. Maybe you can as well tell us your feedback, and then you can ask your question. And when you write the question to the chat, please use the sign, so Andre, Gaurav, or Shivangi. So I will see that this is a question, and I will understand that you want to ask it now. We will also, you'll be able to ask some questions during the webinar, so we will try not to wait for the Q&A session, but for example, during the simulation of the interview, you will not be able to ask it exactly in that moment, so we will leave them for the Q&A session. So I want to introduce you our team for today. My name is Alina, and I am client manager at Andre Homulenko Consulting Group and at Consulting Masters. And today I will be the moderator. And I want to introduce you Shivangi. Shivangi is our client, and she's a student of the Lancaster University. Shivangi, welcome. And can you please briefly introduce yourself?
Thank you so much, Alina, for the introduction. Hi, everybody, all my Lancaster mates over here. So I'm a recent Lancaster alumni. I've just completed my MBA. I'm working with Andre and Gaurav for quite some weeks now, trying to understand the case mechanics of a consulting interview. I have worked in consulting in few internships. So now moving forward with the guidance of consulting masters, I'm trying to bag my permanent role in consulting. So today I'll be solving a case with you in front of you all. So make the most of this opportunity. Try and understand how things work. Ask your doubts. And after the webinar also, all of you can connect with me to understand anything from the webinar or from the consulting interview perspective in general.
Great, thank you, Shivangi. And let me introduce our coach, Gaurav. Gaurav, hello. Can you please introduce yourself?
Thanks, Alina, and thanks everyone who can make it. Great to meet you and looking forward to have a lot of interactions. So my name is Gaurav Bhosle. I'm an ex-McKinsey consultant. I'm from India, did my engineering here and some tech startups, did my MBA from HEC in Paris, and then joined McKinsey in Frankfurt and went on to work with McKinsey in Europe, Africa, and Asia. For the last around 10 years, I'm very active in consulting readiness preparation as a coach. More than 500 candidates through me have joined the top consulting companies. More than 5,000 hours of coaching I've done. So happy to help you, on the journey of consulting offers. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Gaurav. And let me introduce you our second coach, Andre. Andre, hello again. Can you please introduce yourself?
Hi, everyone. Yeah, sure. Thank you very much, Alina, for this great introduction. And thank you, everyone, for coming and having this event together with us. I would strongly encourage you to participate and to ask your questions through the chat, to speak out, because we are here, we are the whole team, me, Gaurav, moderators and organizers, we are committed to deliver the best results with you, together with Shivangi, of course. So let me also briefly introduce myself and tell me a little bit more about my story. So I am originally born Ukrainian. And I was educated in Kiev National Economic University. Then as a foreigner, I went with a scholarship into Germany back in 2008 during the previous financial crisis, the economic downturn, when the number of jobs in consulting was also very limited. I became excited about consulting after my first internship at Roland Berger in Kiev office back in 2010, because my second project was that I was supporting the team which was working for the Winter Olympics Committee for Winter Olympic Games in Sochi 2014. And I was so excited that I could have been attached to this project and work and create the impact. So basically what everyone else have seen in the TV in 4 years later on, that I also have created some impact to that Winter Olympic Games to take place. And it motivated me to go into consulting. I would say that breaking into consulting in Germany without proper knowledge of German language at that time was even more challenging than you can imagine than cracking cases in English or in just your mother tongue. Nevertheless, I made this challenge. I also have quite a few attempts. I was not always successful, but I got my experience and I was taken. And basically, I after having mastered more than 150 cases on my own, I simply stopped counting. That's why I can't really tell you how many cases I in fact cracked. So I cracked as much as needed, and because I was extremely committed to get into consulting. And after that, after 2013, I started helping friends of mine to get into consulting as well, because helping people and serving people, especially into those challenging times we are facing nowadays with the pandemic, was my true motivation. And there is nothing better for me than having received your WhatsApp message or your phone call saying like, hey, Andre, I just got an offer from McKinsey or Roland Berger or Strategy and or whatever the company. Thank you very much for all what you have done. This is really one of my fulfillments and why we are doing this for you also tonight. Because we are here, we want to help you, to serve you, to build a very solid foundation in your career. Later on, I have worked in consulting for more than 6 years all across the globe, starting with Western Europe, Central Europe, Eastern Europe, Russia, and I've also spent a couple of years in the Middle East before we then came back with my wife to Switzerland, where we currently live since a couple of years. All right, so that's enough talk, I would say. Let's basically get it started. I would suggest that we give you some very quick theoretical part of how every consulting interview is structured before going into the practical part with Shivangi, who is one of your classmates. And we would strongly encourage you to interact and ask your questions. Every interview typically consists of 3 main parts. It starts with introduction and personal fit and behavioral questions when you are asked about your strong, your weak points, about your motivation for joining consulting or for joining specific firm or specific region, as well as you are requested to share your stories about leadership or handling and dealing your challenging situation in life. This is what is called personal fit part and behavioral part of the interview. Then in the middle of the interview, you will be asked to solve a business case problem, like estimate the market for iPhones in Saudi Arabia, or maybe do any sort of profitability problem which one of the companies your potential clients is facing, or anything similar to this, like launching new products, launching new markets, new strategies, etc. And then at the end of the interview, which typically lasts for 45 to 60 minutes, you have 5 to 7 minutes to ask your questions to the interviewer. And all 3 parts are equally important. So in the fit part, I think we have already covered this. Just to give you one tip, how to answer CV or motivational questions in the best way. I would suggest you, if you are confronted with a question like, why do you want the company XYZ? Or why do you want to join consulting? You can simply use a very simple framework and say, I would like to join consulting for the 3 reasons. Reason 1, reason 2, and reason 3. This is what we call top-down communication. So you first outline the logic, the way you think, and then you go into details. Your personal fit questions could be usually about your future goals. So for example, where do you see yourself in 5 or 10 years from now? What could be your strong points? Or this might be also some questions which are foreseen to challenge you. Like, for example, can you please, what do you think, what would your boss criticize about you? Or, ask additional critical questions which might take you under the pressure. So or about your achievements. What have you been doing majorly so far? Or what are the things you are proud of? Or why do you think we need to hire exactly you?
Andre, sorry, but we have already one question, and this is question by Madeline. Madeline, can you please turn on your camera and unmute yourself and ask your question?
Hi. So I have actually two questions. The first one is when we are replying to questions related to our skills and leadership styles, motivation, what type of skills should we normally outline? For example, should I say that I like to work more in teamwork, stuff like that? What is probably the main three more important skills that we should outline?
The general, well, basically, thank you very much, Madalena, for attending and helping us to organize this webinar, and thank you very much for your questions. Basically, there is just a very simple principle. Consultants are hired in their junior positions, mostly for their analytical and structural skills. They are promoted to managers for their leadership skills and team leadership, so dealing with the client, and they are promoted to partners for their sales skills. So these are the three key skill sets, and this means that it of course depends on the position you are currently applying for, whether you are a business student with bachelor's degree for business analyst position, or whether you are a master's or whether you are MBA. But the key emphasis will be mostly on your structuring, on your problem solving, on your team experience, and on your leadership experience, as well as your experience with dealing with challenging situations, and in particular of convincing of others about your opinion. This is one of the skills consultants are extremely trimmed on, because what you need to do is to convince your client. Maybe Gaurav, you could also add a few points while I'm letting my wife to get inside the apartment.
It's fine.
Yeah. So it's a good question. Yeah, and I think all the skills Andre explained, I think they are all worth considering in terms of what do you want to focus on and what do you want to include in your answer. Yeah, but a simple structure that I advise in keeping in mind is when you are pitching yourself for in consulting fit interview, think about three types of skill buckets: hard, soft, and overlap. Yeah. So hard skills are basically the be it your industry expertise, be it your spike in some particular area, let's say in modeling, in financial services. Yeah. So something that your CV boasts about. Yeah. So 5 years of oil and gas experience or domain knowledge expertise. Yeah? Soft skills are basically your leadership skills, problem solving skills, which cannot be evaluated in an interview, but very important from the perspective of consulting as a career. And a lot of them Andre explained. And the third, which is I think a punch in your answer, should come from overlapping skills. Means to tell the consultant that, you know what, some of the things that you guys doing, yeah, I also have done. So if you are coming from a research background, talk about how you have solved clients' problem using research. If you are coming from a corporate background, talk about how you have actually taken some of the projects and impacted the top line and bottom line of the company. Yeah. So remember this particular structure. Yeah, and it can be a very, very impressive answer if you structure it like this.
Can I ask another thing? So, for example, one of the questions that I've been asking, I don't know if I'm giving the right answer or not, is what is your biggest weakness? Because I feel like if I'm always afraid to say something that might be not good for a position I'm doing, but at the same time, I want to be honest. So how do I answer this question, for example?
That's an amazing question, and see, any question with negative connotations, needs to be handled carefully. At the same time, see, gone are the days when people used to give false weaknesses, and it used to go well. Yeah, so telling that I'm something like. I am micromanager, right? Or I cannot stand, non-performance. All these are not weaknesses. I strongly suggest that you really come up with your real weakness. See, consultants, everyone has weakness. In fact, and not identifying the right weakness in itself is a weakness. Yeah. So be very genuine with your weakness. Only thing is, it's all about how do you answer it. So structure the answer in such a way that you start off with a weakness, how it has impacted you, how did you come to know about it, from which kind of feedback mechanism, and right now what are you doing to overcome that, and how far you have been in that journey. Yeah,
Okay.
don't.
Yeah, it makes sense.
Projecting yourself as non-human is not going to. There is something called as airport test, right? Which talks about, do we want to really hire someone with whom we want to mingle? Yeah, I don't want to be with someone who says that I don't have any weakness. Everyone has it. Yeah, the point is that how do you communicate? So no point giving wishy-washy answers. Yeah, whatever is the weakness, yeah, talk about it with all honesty. Only thing is draft the answer properly.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks.
All right. Shall we move on?
And we have one more question from Carolina. Carolina, can you please turn on your camera, unmute yourself, and introduce yourself and ask your question, please?
Hi, I'm Carolina. I'm also part of the Consulting Society, and I have two questions that I posted in the chat. What is your best advice for an interview? But it was kind of answered now. And what are the main skills that people present that impress you? What are those skills that people present that you make them that make you want to hire them?
Gaurav, I would suggest you go for the questions. I will be basically presenting the content. Gaurav, would you like to unmute yourself?
Yeah, sorry. So there are no hard and fast rule in terms of which skills are impressive. Okay, so there are generally three areas of competencies on which all the consulting companies have prepared their evaluation metrics. Yeah, and that is analytical thinking, structured problem solving, and smooth and convincing communication. Yeah, so these three are very large buckets. Yeah, and under that, whatever skills fall, yeah, they are extremely good. Yeah, now that's why it's very difficult to pinpoint that this skill means sure shot he will be a good consultant, and this skill means he is not a good consultant. Yeah, so don't think from that perspective. I always give example that one of my McKinsey project mate was a Scandinavian rowing gold medalist from Finland, yeah, Olympic gold medalist. He had never attended a single university apart from a sports university. A very good friend of mine who just became partner last year. He is a medical doctor. Yeah, so it has absolutely nothing to do with the skills that you have. You are bringing to consulting. Point is, with whatever skills that you have brought, yeah. First of all, are you demonstrating the ability to set and achieve stretched goal or impossible goals? Do you have that attitude? Once you have that attitude, yeah, then things can be learned. Okay, so learning attitude and basic, these three things: analytical bent of mind, structured problem solving, and top-down and convincing communication. If you have these three basic things, the background and those, any other specific skills don't matter.
Okay, thank
By
you.
the
I
way,
also
just
have
another example I would like to give. Just the one person that we are just right now we are coaching for McKinsey Houston office is a U.S. Marine who has served in Afghanistan for 4 years, and he is applying to McKinsey implementation practice in Houston. Now, just imagine what kind of skills he must be talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. I also have another question that is, in an interview, what is like your favorite question to ask, the one that helps you realize that the candidate is good for your company?
Yeah, I think we are a little bit digressing from the agenda. This probably falls pretty late in the conversation, but just to give you a very broad outline, the questions that should be asked, you should always follow two criteria. One is that questions answer should not be found using Google. Yeah. So don't ask question that showcases that you haven't researched. Yeah. So do not ask those kind of questions. Ask questions which are not Googleable. Yeah. Or which are very, very specific. And secondly, ask questions which will make the person feel happy about it. Don't forget, with these questions, interview ends. You don't want the interviewer to be sad when he's writing your review. Yeah, a lot of people ask last question, can you tell me about the most challenging project that you have done? Man, why do you want to do that? You want to evoke negative memories of his toughest project? Never do that. Yeah, or certain questions which are like obvious. Some people ask, how is the work-life balance? What do you mean by work-life balance? If you want work-life balance, don't even apply for consulting. Yeah. So don't ask obvious questions whose answers you can find anywhere. Ask specific questions about that person's practice, what he has been doing, his past, yeah, and ask positive sounding questions. Yeah, those two criteria if you follow, yeah, any question can be a good question.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks.
Cool. Thanks, Gaurav, also for your support. So basically, just to continue, if we're speaking about behavioral part and just maybe the first general tip which I can provide to you is be also structured whenever you are asked to share your stories. For example, if you are asked about can you give me an example of a situation where you showed yourself as an official leader? Then every situation could be and every story can be described using the very simple what we call STAR plus L framework, where STAR plus L stands for description of your situation, description of your tasks or objective, description of your approach, results, and what is even more important, of your learnings. So what have you learned out of every situation? Which basically, what do you apply now in a different way, and why this experience is so valuable for you? So this was the first part, like on the soft skills of the interview. Then in terms of the case solving part, when we come up to the question like, hey, would you like to do a case with me, Madalena or Shivangi or Mariana or Carolina or Chosa? Then be ready that every case consists of basically, from the process perspective, it consists of the six general things. So first of all, after the interviewer asks the case question, the candidate is expected to restate this question with his own words, paraphrasing it, and then ask the clarifying questions. Only after 2-3 clarifying questions have been asked, then the candidate asks the interviewer to give him or her a moment of time to think in order to outline the structure. Then the structure and the approach is presented, how to solve this case, and is aligned with the interviewer. After the structure is aligned, then the interviewer, then the candidate actually drives the case on his own, and goes and solve the case along the proposed structure, bucket by bucket. After after the buckets are solved, then it's a time to sum up the solutions and to make the final recommendation. And then after the final recommendation is done, there still could be some sort for discussion and clarifying questions from the interview. All right, so let's see it into more details in the following pages. You might ask me, like, Andre, how actually to start your case solving? So after you have restated the question, first, make sure that you really understand the objectives of that case. And I would generally recommend you to ask 2-3 good clarifying questions. So what are the good clarifying questions? This could be, if you don't understand how the business works, then you could simply ask about the business model of the company. So basically, how does the company makes money? Especially if you are not familiar with that industry. If it's, for example, reinsurance, or you haven't heard anything about oil and gas specifically, then ask this kind of question. Then the second very good question, and I think it's a really a must question, is about the specific objectives of the case. So, like, are there any specific numbers or any KPIs or any specific time frame which the company is looking for? And then the third one, if of course you have heard any term or anything, any word in the text which you don't actually understand, then simply ask about the meaning of it. So, or ask anything else which you think is relevant in order to understand the specific objectives of the case. And basically, I would like also to give you a small hint. As for now when we are going to solve the case, I just want to give you a quick hint on how you could take your notes in a consultant way. So how do consultants take their notes? This is one of the very common practices. So you take one sheet of paper and you turn it, make it horizontal, and then you do the cross. So you split it into 4 quadrants. And as you see, on the one quadrant, you can write down your case question and also the answers to your clarifying questions. On the second quadrant, you can describe your structure or your approach. On the third one, you can conduct all the necessary analysis, do the math, or figure out make some takeaways from your exhibits whenever you analyze them. And on the fourth one, so for the final recommendation, whatever you have picked out of your analysis, whatever you think is necessary and needs to be placed in the analysis part, then leave it over here to make sure that it really works. I hope that it's pretty clear to you, and I would strongly encourage you to take the notes in the consultant fashion manner. I mean, you may say that, what if one sheet of paper is not enough to take all of those notes? Then you can take the second sheet of paper and basically structure it in the similar way, because this will help you to organize all of your notes and don't lose the sight when you are proceeding. All right, so let's move on. So then you need to outline the structure, and the structure needs to be MISI. MISI stays actually for mutually exclusive and collectively exhaustive. So as you see here on the photo on the right side, it consists of several levels, and it needs to be also communicated level by level. So for example, structure consists of 3 levels, level 1, level 2, level 3, and then level 1 consists of 2 sublevels, level 2 consists of 2 sublevels, level 3 consists of 2 sublevels. So that you actually go directly layer by layer. And then after you have presented your structure, just ask 2 very good questions in order to ensure the buy-in from the side of the interviewer. So ask the interviewer after you have presented the structure. So does it make sense to you, or do you think am I missing something, or am I missing anything? And the third one is like, I would like to start with the bullet point number 1, unless you have any other preferences, because those 2 questions, after you ask them, they will give the interviewer the chance to intervene if you are missing something, or they are basically ensuring the buy-in from the interviewer after the interviewer says like, okay, so feel free to proceed. And then afterwards on the next page, it's just pretty simple. You start to solve the case bucket by bucket. So you state your hypothesis, and then you move to the first bucket, and you get deeper and deeper until you will find the root cause of the problem, and then you will fix it. And then you basically you summarize your outcomes, or you do the intermediate summary, and then you outline that you will proceed with the next bucket, and so on until you will basically fix that case. So, and then lastly, on the next page, we will also see how to do the summary and provide the recommendation. So in order to make the final recommendation, you should have a look. First of all, you need to ask for a moment of time. Then you have a look into your case case question with the objectives. Then you restate that case question and your objectives. You formulate a brief recommendation for each objective. You support it by a few facts which you figure out during your analysis phase. You need to mention the potential risks and outline specific next steps. And then at the end of this recommendation, you might say a phrase or ask a question to the interviewer like, do you have any questions? All right, so this is basically the theory. And I hope that it's clear. Now we will move to the next part and see how this actually works in practice. And herewith, I would like to ask Shivangi to show up. I mean, we have been working with Shivangi for a while, but Shivangi might still be a little bit nervous because she hasn't actually solved any case in front of the broad public. So if you don't mind, I would basically ask you to cheer up Shivangi a little bit, and can you maybe turn on your cameras and give an applause to Shivangi to cheer her up. So please turn on your cameras, turn on your microphones, and let's wish Shivangi best of luck. And Shivangi, go, go, go.
Thank you, everybody.
Good luck. Good luck.
Good luck, Shivangi. So I hope it's a magic moment for you. So Shivangi, stay calm, everything will be fine. And now it will be the most interesting part of the webinar because we are actually going to simulate the actual interview with Shivangi. And what we will basically do, what we have presented so far in theory, you will see how this is applied into practice. And then during the case, so we will first start with a brief introduction. We will then continue with personal feed part, with the behavioral part, and then in the case part, as we come up to it, I would also give a chance to a few of you to crack this case together with us. So whenever we will practice the case, I would encourage one or two candidates besides Shivangi to raise the hand and to actively participate with us and to try to crack and solve this case. Okay, so you will have a chance to crack this case together with us. So please be active. And as for now, I will also just change, I will get back. I will turn off my camera and microphone for a moment, and I will change my identity to imagine that I am an interviewer from one of the leading consulting firms, and we actually make it all real. So please participate actively in the case part of that interview, and then we will proceed with the Q&A session. All right, so Shivangi, I wish you best of luck, and let's get the show started. Hi Shivangi, my name is Tom Spencer from Bain London office. How are you doing?
I'm very well, Tom. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. I'm very excited, and let's get started.
Okay, all right, sounds good. So yeah, Shivangi, I just reviewed your documents. You have a pretty impressive profile. Can you maybe tell me a little bit more about yourself?
Sure. So, Tom, I have recently graduated from Lancaster University. I've just completed my MBA. Previously, I have worked in sales for about 4 years. And I have recently discovered my passion for consulting while working with Microsoft as an MBA consultant. Having a look at all my interests, I'm looking forward to entering the consulting world and testing myself in this space. So that's why I'm here.
Mm-hmm. All right, that's that's very interesting. Thank you very much. And where's this interest for consulting is coming from? So why consulting? What exactly happened during your internship in Microsoft?
Yeah, so if I go back few years, I have been a biology student all my life, wherein I was dealing with a lot of analytical stuff at the beginning. So there was a lot of comfort in understanding mechanisms, analyzing data, and coming up with insights. And then as I moved forward, I wanted to communicate more with people. So I entered sales, right? Wherein client interaction was at the peak on a daily basis. So what I realized while working with Microsoft as a consultant was that I was able to utilize both these analytical and communicative skills together on any given day on the consulting project. So I realized that consulting is the right space for me because I would like to implement both these skills on a regular basis. And I really enjoyed the project. It was really challenging and mentally stimulating also for me. And it was a diverse team of consultants that I worked with. And I liked curating, insights with them, working with data, and then giving the recommendations to the client also on a regular basis. So that's why I realized that consulting is the thing for me, and I'm looking forward to it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Very interesting. And why do you actually want to join Bain & Company?
Yeah, I want to join Bain because I have spoken to few principals at Bain. I have also worked with a Bain consultant at a fellowship recently. And what she told me was that she really likes to work in straightforward ways. And when they're giving recommendations, dealing with data and dealing with the insights for the data, they like how they curate things in a straightforward manner. And this is something that I have, followed in my career throughout. There are a lot of situations wherein there's a lot of confusion when there's data, right? So along with being analytical and being communicative, presenting data in straightforward ways is what I liked working with her. And she also explained to me how Bain works with where to look at and how to win approach. So I have worked with her in a recent fellowship, and I like the approach. So that's why I'm here, and I look forward to working with Bain very soon.
Mm-hmm. What's her name?
Her name is Katharina, and she has worked in the Australia office with Bain.
Okay.
Australia and Singapore office. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Cool. Yeah, very interesting. Okay. Thank you, Shivangi. And what actually led your decision to join MBA at Lancaster?
Yeah. So as I moved into sales, starting my corporate career, I definitely realized that this is the setting I would want to work in. However, my education was in science, and I had no idea about the business management aspect of things from an educational perspective. So I wanted to understand better what are the areas that business deals with. So understanding a bit about finance, understanding a bit about marketing, from a theoretical and practical perspective, made me realize what is it that I really like and what is it that I really don't like. Because I feel understanding what we don't like is equally important. And now that I have the clarity, I look forward to moving into consulting.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Sounds good. And where do you see yourself in 5 years from now?
Yeah, in 5 years, I see myself being a part of a team that is very close to the strategic consulting part of things. In consulting itself, at this point, I have the clarity.
Can you please be more specific?
Yeah, so
this is like very
point,
generous. Yeah.
Yeah, at this point, what I know is that I like to create strategies and brainstorm about situations from a client perspective, because I'm coming from a sales background. So moving forward, I would like to experiment with a lot of projects and industries, and would like to create my own niche. Like at the moment, I have working with Microsoft gave me an influence around, how technology can transform things. And I'm also studying a bit about AI at the moment. So experimenting with things in consulting, I want to eventually create a niche. Let's say I might be working in the digital transformation practice of a consulting firm, wherein I am working as an engagement manager and dealing with projects in a particular niche.
Mm-hmm. Okay, sounds good. Why do you think you are good enough?
I think I'm good enough because I have dealt with a lot of change in my career in a very short span of time. Everybody knows that consulting, yeah. So in a span of 7 years, I have moved from studying biology to sales to consulting. And I feel it takes a lot of adaptability to deal with it, all of it. I have been doing well in all of these things also.
Why have you moved from biology to sales? What does it have in common?
It doesn't have anything in common. That's the catch. In biology, I understood that, hey, I'm good at the analytical part of things, but that's not the only thing that I want to do. So I realized that I don't want to become a scientist and sit in front of a microscope all day. I want to communicate with people. So I took a leap of faith and experimented with myself in the sales aspect of things. And I really enjoyed it. And moving forward, I did the MBA where I realized that, hey, okay, in consulting, I am able to use my mental abilities also together with the communication that is involved, right? So I feel I have managed with a lot of adaptability. And in consulting, you need a good combination of analytical and communicative skills on a regular basis. I have dealt with a lot of data. I have recently enjoyed doing the consulting projects that I have. So definitely, I think I would be a good fit.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Sounds good. Thank you very much for sharing those views. Can you maybe tell me a little bit more about your personal experience? So what was the most challenging situation for you so far? How you dealt with this and why?
Yeah, so one of the most challenging situations with me was when I was working in sales. In a span of 1 year, I was moved to the key accounts, which was the backbone of the region that I was a part of. So I was given the task of introducing some new products to clients, and which backfired. One of the clients was not adaptable enough to understand the new products that we had, and he basically withdrew from the subscriptions that he was currently enrolled in. And it was a huge risk and very critical situation for the team because it was a very key account. So how I dealt with it was I adapted the product itself. I coordinated with the product management team and understood the client's pain points. So keeping in mind that I had to present the product in good light to the client, I changed the product itself for the client, which was actually not the case that we could do. So this was my first experience dealing with the product management team also. I changed the product in their own language, which is a regional language in India. Which was very impressive for the client. There was no other company that was offering that. And eventually, after a lot of discussion, I was able to back the client with a higher product.
So have you simply done the translation,
critical.
or what was the challenge? I don't get it.
Yeah, so one of the challenges was that the client was very critical as to they were not adaptable. They wanted the same products that they were using, but there was an upgrade in the products that we had. So in order to incorporate his convenience, we changed the entire database. We changed the entire user experience that he had in his language. And also there were some key factors like some convenience factors like certain folders, certain databases, certain accessibilities. We also created an app, a mobile app, because that person was always on the move. So some of the things in new product development we had to do, which was something that I have never done so far. I had never dealt with a situation like that because my job was to pitch the product to the client, not change the product. So I dealt with the situation by changing the product, and the client is still using the products as I know. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, what have you learned out of it?
So I learned out of it that sometimes we have to go beyond what we already know and our typical job that we have. We have to move out and understand the clients in the best way and really offer to them what they want. So I also understood about products in detail, the technical aspects of products. And I also realized my importance in the process because the product team really valued my insights because I was dealing with the client directly. So from a lot of perspectives, it was a learning experience. How to deal with a very critical client. Sometimes clients are stubborn, sometimes clients are understanding, and sometimes clients don't easily understand what we
And
are trying to
how do
convey.
you deal
So it
now
improves my
with stubborn
communication.
clients?
I deal with stubborn clients based on the situation. I do try to prove my point to them in various ways. And my biggest approach is to show them what will happen if they go with my recommendation, what benefit will they get, and what would they be missing if they don't go with the recommendation. So I try to understand where the value is for the client, and I try to make them understand the value itself.
Okay, all right, cool. Then let's basically see how you can deal with a quick case. I would also encourage some other participants to get engaged as we are going through it one by one. So, are you ready to go?
Yep, absolutely.
Okay. Shivangi, your client is a privately held company based in Nigeria, which runs laundry outlets in 5 regions across the country. The company is engaged in 3 businesses. It's a market machine-based clothes washing, it's hand washing of dedicated clothes, and it's clothes ironing. The company owners are concerned because of the slowdown of company's growth. And for the last 2 years, Cleansol growth has plateaued, sort of. So they have actually called you to advise them on possible growth avenues. So what do you think? How would you go about that problem?
All right, thanks for the case. So I would just like to paraphrase and set things right. So the client is based in Nigeria and runs a laundry outlet service, having few business units, and the growth has slowed down since the past 2 years. And they want us to help in regaining the growth again. Right?
Exactly.
All right. So before I lay out a structure, I just have very quick initial questions, if I may ask.
Yeah.
Yeah, so since the issue is around growth, I would like to understand that is it only our company that's Cleanall that is facing the issue, or is it an industry-wide problem? How are the competitors doing at this point? Do we have any insight around that?
No, I don't have any information about competitors.
All right. And my question is also around
Anything
growth
else?
again. So, yeah, I have a question that since the client wants us to help them in growth, do they have a particular target in mind as to how much growth are they looking forward to? And because accordingly, we can look at certain growth initiatives. So what is the target growth they are looking at, and in how much duration, for example?
Okay, that's a good question. Well, basically, company owners are looking for growth initiatives that will increase their top line by at least 10% year on year for the next 3 to 5 years. Oh, and by the way, about the competitors, I have the following information. I don't have their growth projections, but I can tell you that 5 years back, there were only 5 players in that market. However, most recently, lots of new age laundry startups have sprung up and have basically diminished the market share of traditional players like Cleanall.
Okay, all right.
Anything else
right.
which you would like to ask, or maybe one or two other participants? Do you have any further questions which you would like to ask? Then please turn on your camera and show up. Does anyone want to ask clarifying question to the case? All right, Shivangi, seems like not the case. So basically, yeah, feel free to proceed.
Since we have 3 segments in the business, do we have any insight if a particular segment is affecting the entire growth, or do we have any data around that? Is it the hand washing that is?
No, we actually don't have that data. So I have a question to you. So how would you structure your approach to that problem?
Okay, all right. If I can just get a moment to structure my thoughts, I can lay out the structure and come across with something, yeah?
Okay, go ahead.
I have a question, sorry.
Yes.
What budget does the company have for its growth, like for its growth project?
Interesting question. Unfortunately, I don't have any data, Margaret, on that.
Okay.
But thanks for asking.
Yeah, I have a basic broad structure, if I may, yeah?
Yeah.
So I would like to look at this in 4 buckets. First being the financials, I would have a look at I would like to compare the revenue and cost of the 3 segments and the geographies, like it's mentioned that it's in 5 regions, and see if there has been a shift due to the new competition that is there from the revenue and cost perspective. To understand the position of the company financially. Then I would look at the market and the industry, like the competitors that we have mentioned, what are they doing and their products and their offerings, and the market growth and share, so that if we understand that, we can see if we can adopt those things. The third bucket is the customers. Really understand that what are the issues customers are facing, how our customers utilize our products in terms of customer journey, and what is the new competition offering them, what customers do like about the new competition, and we can see if there are any chances of innovation here. And through this, we can also acquire new customers, right, through these innovations. And the last and very critical one, I think, is the capabilities. For the growth, if we want to innovate, what can be improved in terms of, like, say, speed of, hand washing or machine-based clothing, right? Or like in terms of capacity, and what new can be done, like maybe open in new regions. So these are some of the buckets that I have. So does that sound reasonable?
Okay. Thank you very much for sharing this, Shivangi. Who has a different approach? And who would like to present the structure?
I've got a question with this regard. So are we supposed to utilize a framework here? Because I chose the 4C framework. So customers, costs, competitors, and capabilities. So it's a bit more structured, maybe.
Rebecca, thank you very much. Can you basically stay also and turn on your camera again when we speak? Yeah. So do you think is 4C framework sufficient enough? Does it cover everything?
No, I think it doesn't cover the revenue and some growth potentials in the market, but I think it provides a good guideline as to which you could structure your analysis, and then you have to adapt it in order to find out where there is more growth.
Yeah, so how would you adapt that framework? Isn't it reasonable to think not just in frameworks, but to create your own framework?
Yeah, so I think what I would take from that framework is first to look at the cost side and add the revenue so that we've got a good overview of the profit. Is there actually potential in, for example, decreasing costs or increasing the revenue? Then if we look at customers, I would look not only at customers, but also at like possible future customers, how customer bases could be expanded. Competitors, as Shivangi said, like where are competitors, where they are at the moment, how could future competitors enter that market also? So is it even, does it make sense to grow like into the future? So might there be some obstacles in the future? And then capabilities, like Shivangi said, is there even the capacity to grow?
Okay, so if we talk about market growth and if we talk about the customers, you have just described how to grow the customers. So basically increase the number of customers, target new customers, or launch new services. What else can you do with customers in order to increase their revenues?
You could try to either seek new customers, so to expand the customer base that you have, or to provide some additional fees or services for the customers.
What does this mean?
An increased revenue without having to change your capabilities as much as if you would grow like geographically.
Sure. So basically increase the wallet of the customer.
Yeah.
So sales of the customer. Okay, thank you very much for sharing, Rebecca. Very valuable. Does anyone else would like to present his or her structure? How to crack that case? All right, then let's basically, before we move on, I would like to ask Gaurav, our expert, can you maybe also provide some intermediate feedback on what do you think about the structures which were shared by Shivangi and Rebecca?
Yeah, sure. Well, Shivangi, I just missed your first branch. So what did you start the first branch with?
Yeah, I started with the financials and to observe the shift in the financials.
Okay, good. So I think Shivangi's structure and structure shared by Rebecca, I think partially cover the point. But again, two things we need to think about. One is the messiness, exhaustiveness, and ensuring that they are exclusive branches. Another thing is relevance. Yeah. So just Shivangi, I think what I would urge you to think about is that whether financial as the first branch, would even make sense if you are talking about second and third branch being much broader than that at an industry or market level. Yeah, you would want to start off with market and industry first. Yeah, and then probably financial is something which is a resultant branch, which can come much later. Secondly, I felt that the competition part is basically getting covered in market and customers both. Yeah, so I would again push myself to think whether customer as a separate bucket do I really want, right? Thirdly, I would also think about what's the diagnostic part and what's the basically a resultant initiative. Given that when you asked Andre whether it's a problem specific to our company, our competition or industry, it did not have data, which means you have to check the industry part, which is industry analysis has to be done in the first branch. Then you will have to do internal analysis. Yeah. And under both, I think what Rebecca was talking about, 4 C's. I mean, the 4C is a very typical structure, but basically under this industry and internal analysis, we can have individual branches of analysis to diagnose the problem. Okay. But I think a third branch, which is the growth avenues, should also be added to check basically as a result of what is coming out of 2 branches, what are we exactly going to do? Yeah. And then the fourth branch, I think I would say can be kept as feasibility or capability in order to get this entire part the CE part of BC, yeah, collective exhaustiveness. Yeah, so if I were you, I would probably have 4 branches: industry analysis, internal analysis, then your the growth avenues, and 4th, capability. Again, I'm just trying to modify what you said into branches rather than making too many changes. Again, understand that same problem can be structured in 50 different ways. Yeah, everybody has a different style of cutting the pie. But whatever you have thought about, even just little bit modifying that, you can come up with these 4 branches.
All right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you very much. Shivangi, your team has actually done some industry research which suggests that the laundry industry landscape in Nigeria is changing really rapidly. And the new age startups entering the laundry industry are introducing several value-added services and luring the customers. So this is, by the way, just an example of possible structure. So the following exhibits lists the key value-added services that emerged out of that research. So please have a look on the exhibit number 1, and according to you, which value-added services initiative CleanAll should invest in and why?
All right.
And this is also the question to everyone in the group. So I would be also expecting 2 or 3 more answers from the group. So please think about it. So Shivangi, what do you think about it?
So what I remember is that the company focused on top line revenues, right? 10% was the target per year, right? So looking at that, free pickup and drop looks like the go-to option, because they did not mention anything about profit. However, I understand that profit is negative 2 here. So I want to understand that if only top line revenue is the concern, then I would choose free pickup and drop. Otherwise, if they want some profit also, then I would choose free pickup and drop plus shoe shine. Because that, of course, deals with that tackles the top line target, and that also gives some profit, which is plus 1% here. So I would like to give 2 answers to this. So based on what the company wants. So if they want profit, then 2 options.
Okay. Thank you very much, Shivangi. Do we have any other opinions in the group? All right, Shivangi, seems like it's going to be just 2 of us. Okay, that's very interesting. And if you just choose those 2 options or this 1 option, so how will you actually evaluate whether free pickup and drop service launch would be a good idea for a CleanAll? Based on what criteria? So how would you do that evaluation?
All right. So you want me to what things that I would like to evaluate in order to make this decision, right?
Yeah.
All right. If I can just get a moment to just put down some points, yeah? All right. So I have a few points because it's an add-on service, right? So we need to test if this is good enough to enter. Is it attractive enough to enter, right? We can look at the competition, since the competition has been giving these offers, how it has been beneficial for them. And if it has increased their revenue in a certain way, or their clients have increased due to some of these services, and also check from a capability feasibility point of view, like if we really have the capabilities in terms of tracking system, delivery system, certain costs would be involved. We would have to recruit probably drivers, and also purchase some cars and bikes to, for example, do the free pickup and drop, right? So I would look at it from two buckets again, if it's attractive enough and effective enough, and if so, how can we do it if we have the capabilities for it. So at
so
this
you
point,
basically
is,
mean the attractiveness and feasibility.
Yeah, capability or feasibility, attractiveness and feasibility can be there. Yeah. Overall.
Okay. Anything else a part of it?
I have
at this moment.
Yes, Madalena.
Hi, sorry. I'm having some trouble to understand how specific should we be when giving this type of responses. Because I'm trying to analyze what she's saying, and you're doing a great job. More or less, I would say the same things. But I'm just trying to understand until which extent.
Madalena, I will provide the feedback or the review of the performance later on. Can you now present your answer?
Okay, no, let me just continue. Sorry.
Mm-hmm. So, Shivangi?
Yeah, so like we discussed, attractiveness and feasibility are the two things that I would look at this point. Make a calculation and compare and see if it's going to be effective in the growth, which is the target at this point.
Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Sounds good. So, imagine that the CEO of the company just will arrive in a few moments from now. So what kind of the final recommendation would you give to him?
So the final recommendations that I would give to the CEO would be to again calculate the attractiveness, have a look at the parameters of how competition has been doing and how and where they can grow, and the capabilities also. Compare the data and the services with the charges that we have currently, and if the services are good, and if the services are giving a top line benefit, then they should go for it. I would say they should go for free pickup and drop plus shoe shine both, because it clearly gives a plus 14% revenue impact, and there's profit also. So these are my recommendations at this point.
What are the risks and next steps?
The risks would be that not necessarily the things that have been working for competition work for us as well. There can be some sort of cannibalization also, and this can also impact the brand image of the company that is already there. Suppose they are putting out another service or doing something like shoe shine, so they need to have a look at the brand aspect of it. And the next steps would be effective marketing for the add-on services, and also calculate how much benefit they are getting, and they should compare it with the data that they are having right now, the costs that they are having right now. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, sounds good. Thank you very much, Shivangi. Do you have any questions to me before leave?
So I have an interesting question. Something that I have been diving deep into these days is artificial intelligence and how it impacts various industries. So I was just curious if in your consulting career, how have you seen digital transformation affect various industries? Recently, I observed how AI impacts healthcare. So what has been most exciting for you from a digital transformation perspective, being a consultant?
Thank you very much. Very interesting question. In fact, digitization is disrupting every industry, and it's just a matter of time when the traditional industries will be disrupted. So, and I think that COVID has actually pretty much expedited the whole process. The entire landscape of the industry is changing, and this is so fascinating about it. But the disruption doesn't only bear the risks. Existing and established players, if they are aware about what is coming and well prepared, they could even strengthen their position on the market when they are reacting, or when they are basically making this disruption proactively, when they are disrupting the industry by themselves. So I was advising many banks on digital disruption. It created a lot of transparency in the market. And of course, for some of the banks, their fee structure has lowered in their profitability. But those of them who were very proactive in the market could have created great new products and great new business lines. So for them, it actually meant some chances and additional revenue streams. So it always depends on the digital mindset of the company. And this is really a very interesting topic. I think we could have a great conversation on that, but I would probably not be able to complete even after 1 hour.
Absolutely. That's very insightful.
All right, thank you. Anything else?
Nothing else. Thank you so much, Tom, for your time.
All right, thank you very much, Shivangi. Our HR will get back to you. Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Hi, Shivangi. So here's Andre back with you, your career coach, and Gaurav as well. So, and for you guys, now it's a perfect chance for you to drop your messages into the chat, become very active, ask your questions, and also provide your feedback to Shivangi, what you have observed. What did you like? What you didn't like about the performance during the entire interview. So I am pretty excited to learn, Shivangi, from you. So how was your interview with Tom? How would you rank it and why?
So I think I did okay in the fit part. One of the things that I am still improving on is the structure. Maybe I should practice questions, reflect better on my experiences and practice better. So of course the structure could have been improved, but overall I was comfortable answering about my own experiences. The variety of questions was very different. So the next questions were very different. It was a bit challenging also. But I was happy with the performance overall, with some improvements. And in the case also, I think I was in sync with the case. But of course, I had few clarifying questions right at the beginning. I have just too many, but I chose and prioritized some of those, which was a development for me. From the past cases. And also it was nice to see that the structure can be different in so many ways, right? But I was trying to be messy. It's just that how Gaurav gave me the feedback, right? I can be very adaptive. Like Rebecca also mentioned, right? We don't need to stick with the frameworks. So that was also good for me. Overall, I think it was a decent performance. And yes, I could have improved on the recommendation part. I kind of skipped and forgot to summarize the case. but I directly jumped into the recommendations and the next steps. So that's an improvement that I can do. Yeah. Overall, it was a fun experience for me. Yeah.
All right, Shivangi, thank you very much. But what do you think? What have you done good? And can you please be very specific?
Yeah, I think I did well in the fit part. I was able to.
What exactly have you done well in the fit part?
Like, for example, answering the question, why am I a good fit? Why should the firm choose me? So I was able to prove from my experiences the skills that I've acquired over time and how they are relevant. Of course, that is my opinion. Looking forward to your feedback on that. So I think that's where I have done well. And in the case also, I have done well in the approach and the structure part. And I think I did well on the numerical aspect that was there. The answer was quite surprisingly in front of me. So sticking with the objective of the firm, which is to increase 10% top line, the answer was right there. So I think that is something, I did not look at all the numbers. So that is something I did good in the case also.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much. So, then I would basically like to ask the participants, do you have any questions in the chat or any feedback which you would like to provide to Shivangi? Yeah. Okay. So then while others are asking or writing their feedbacks, Gaurav, what do you think about Shivangi's performance? Gaurav, it could be good if you can unmute yourself.
Yeah. I think overall she held herself quite well during the interview. I think the interviewer on the fit front was a little bit tough, which is normally the case. But she held on to it very well, which is a good part. But overall, I think if I have to really give feedback top down in the consulting style, then I would say, there are a couple of things that you should be working on. One is crisp and top-down communication, and secondly, a little bit more tight framework. Okay. In fact, I did not like your fit performance. I think you have had a lot of material to talk about. Yeah, you could have easily answered those questions, but you were not to the point. And Andre, I think I almost thrice had to ask a follow-on question, for you to be very specific. More the interviewer probes, which means your primary answer wasn't that clear. So learn to give the primary answer very, very clear. And a top-down communication with a headline and then detail, that kind of approach would help for sure. Going into the details, I think clarification questions, spot on, very nicely done. Structure, I already gave you feedback. Again, the analysis part that did very well. Sticking to the objective was perfect. Last part where you had to ask question, I think you asked a very specific domain-related question. Okay, so this is a good question if you already know that the interviewer is also from digital transformation kind of a practice. Otherwise, just because you have done digital transformation, you shouldn't be asking digital transformation question. Because just imagine Andre coming from a manufacturing kind of a background and having not done any digitization kind of or nothing on AI or ML he has done. You don't want him to be red-faced, saying, no, I have no idea what's happening in that domain. But try and ask question which is something that the interviewer is able to relate and answer. Okay, so that is another feedback that I would give. Okay, but I think overall, given the context and there are a lot of participants in the group, and again it adds additional pressure. Under that pressure, I think you held up very well done.
Yeah, thank you, Gaurav. So just a point there, actually the clarifying question of the digital transformation, I did that on purpose because I wanted to test myself, like, of course, that question would be coming if I know, because this is such a difficult thing, like what question to ask, if not most exciting project. So sometimes we might know the background of the interviewer, sometimes we might not know. And in the specific case, I just wanted to test if this is a decent question. So, okay, I got the feedback, but when we don't know the background, I still don't have the answer what question to ask, and I don't want to be super generic, like what was your most exciting project or most challenging project. So, and then the next thing that comes to my mind becomes industry specific. So that's again a huge dilemma that I have.
I mean, you don't need to be that specific and that generic. I think there are a lot of things that can be asked here. See, the good thing is for you guys now there is a LinkedIn, yeah. So even if you know the interviewer's name 5 minutes before, you can quickly identify the entire history, geography of the interviewer. When we were interviewing, we did not have that advantage. I still remember there were printouts kept in my hotel room at probably midnight, and we had the interviews at 8 a.m. in the morning. So luckily, you guys have much more than that to do. So you should be able to research 99.99% of the time. But if not, yeah, then still you can talk about, for example, because of the COVID, yeah, what is the nature of what kind of projects currently your practice is doing, right? What what the modalities of engaging with clients, how have they changed? Yeah, there can be a lot of questions which are very specific in the sense of consulting, whose answers you wouldn't be able to find anywhere, but at the same time they are not very generic. Yeah, so you can still do that. And yeah, most impactful project is not a bad question, but yeah, it can be a little bit generic. I agree.
Yeah, thanks for that. Yeah.
All right, then if you allow, I would also provide you with some feedback. Shivangi, I want you to make, so first of all, I think it was a great repetition for you. Because it's like giving a case in front of 20 other people who are sitting into the same room is a little bit more stressful than even in front of just one real Bain interviewer. So therefore, really good job into that extent. And I basically, nevertheless, I would like you to improve, and I am your mentor, and I want all the best for you. So this is a safe environment where you could do mistakes, and doing mistakes is a really good thing, because this is how we all learn. So from my personal observations, of course, unfortunately, I was not able to make notes during that webinar because I was creating and giving the content. But otherwise, I would probably have told you that we had a pretty good start at the very beginning. But I just wanted to ask you a question. Are you tired?
No, I'm not tired.
Because maybe it's just too late in your time zone.
Yeah, maybe.
But I actually haven't felt any sort of enthusiasm. So if I am as an interviewer asking myself, well, would I like to work together with Shivangi on one project, or would I like to hang out with her and drinking a cocktail on the bar, or just spend some time in the airport? This is my real personal fit. And since I haven't seen any sort of enthusiasm, and any energy, any motivation, like the willingness to get this job, I couldn't have read this from your eyes, literally. Therefore, I wouldn't probably say, yeah, maybe no. Because if I were to speak to other candidates who might probably have this drive, have this passion, and really want to get into consulting, and who can communicate in the top-down manner, because you are always compared to your peers. I mean, I will be speaking to 8 to 10 candidates, and out of 10 to 10 candidates, the firm will probably select only 1 or 2 best. So this performance was sort of okay, but it was not good enough to get into the next level. Then what the things which we have presented at the very beginning, like structured top-down communication, first of all. So why consulting? For example, for 3 reasons. Why Bain? For 3 reasons. Or your stories with STAR plus L approach, situation, task, objective approach, results, and your learnings. I was like literally trying to catch up all those things from you. So I kept on asking, like, what have you learned? What was your approach? What were your results? So why do you think this is important? That's why I wouldn't say that I really like that personal fit part, and I was not really able to connect to you as an interviewer at the first part of the interview. And I will help you in future moving forward together with Gaurav to improve also on that aspect. And just for you guys, everyone else sitting into the room, I know I might be too harsh, but I just want Shivangi to be very accurate and knowledgeable about what's going on and how she's going to be assessed. Shivangi is not as experienced. We have met several times, but for her today, it's a really big challenge. And then I think the feedback on the case part you have already received. So there are still quite a few things which we would need to work on, but I would like nevertheless to congratulate you because you are very courageous. You have done this great step to speak out in front of the audience for the first time, and this has really deserved the applause. So therefore, I would basically ask everyone to cheer up Shivangi one more time. So could you please turn on your cameras and turn on your microphones and to make Shivangi feel great again. So Shivangi, this is for you.
Thank you, everybody.
Yeah, so thank you very much, Shivangi. And now let's move on to the question part.
Yes, so we have one question from Dennis. Dennis, can you please turn on your camera, unmute yourself, introduce yourself, and ask your question?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, hello.
Yes.
Hi, yeah, my name is Dinesh. I'm a second-year business management student at Lancaster University. I'd just like to thank you all for doing this for us. And yeah, I thought that you handled the pressure that Andre put on you very well. I was actually impressed with the level of intensity of the interview. But I wanted to ask, because I know that you have some experience with answering to these case studies, and what are your recommendations to answer them in terms of possible tools we can use to prepare, or even actual case studies which we can use to use the strategy that was presented to us?
So I feel from the fit part, one of the challenges that comes is to really associate experiences with certain qualities like, leadership or analytical problem solving. So leadership can be from a professional front or a personal front. Correct me, Andre and Gaurav, but leadership can also be, leading the football club if you don't have work experience, or something like that. So I think just reflect on your experiences for the fit interview and associate experiences with certain attributes that the firm is looking at, like team management, analytical problem solving, leadership experience. And from the case solving perspective, it's all about practice. Like Andre mentioned, like he stopped counting after 150 cases. And I would suggest that solve 2 cases. There are various case books to start with, and solve 2 cases every day. Just start off from anywhere, and that's about it. It's all about practice, and getting feedback is also important. So solving cases like I did earlier on my own did not really help me. So since I've worked with Andre, he has given me feedback on every case. So the improvements you make on every case, like I know personally the improvement that I've made in this performance is multifold from what I did probably last week with Andre, right? So yes, just reflect on your experiences, practice a lot of cases, and reflect on the feedback again. Yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you very much, Dennis. Do we have any further questions from the participants?
For this moment, no.
Okay. Yeah, Madalena, would you also like to ask your question? Because now it's the best time. And also simply unmute yourself, turn on the camera, and ask your question.
Okay,
to Gaurav or Shivangi.
I have a question. When you're giving the feedback and talking about how to demonstrate that you're motivated, right now, most of the things we do, we use the computer because of COVID and everything. Which advices do you have so we can show, like, without body language, I don't know, or expressions, how do we show motivation? Because I feel like it's different if we are face to face to a person or if we are talking to a computer. Does that make sense?
I mean, I actually got started to practice those online interviews way before COVID. It was probably still back in 2017 or 16. But it was because at those times, it was the only way how you could apply into positions in different geographies. So when I was applying for positions in Dubai, for example, I already, while living in Germany, I already had those kind of Zoom calls when Zoom was still not existed. I had Skype at that time. And for me, it was still pretty obvious. So I tried not to make any big difference between online and offline. Because, Madalena, I can actually easily connect to you. I mean, I can play a disinterested person in the interview when I will be simply looking somewhere else. There will be like no eye contact. I don't know, I might be slow and show my disinterest. Oh, you probably feel it already. Or I can actually speak to you when I'm in the more active body language, when I'm watching directly into camera, and when I'm so excited because you, Madalena, you are so great, and thank you very much for the opportunity for speaking with me. I would really love to join Bain & Company.
Okay, I see.
Do you feel the difference in those two approaches?
Yeah, but those are very, in the end of the spectrum approach, they are very different. I'm saying, for example, if I'm already looking at the camera and trying to talk to you, is there like any way I can be more expressive? For example, right now I'm using my hands, but most of the time, if I'm talking to the computer, I don't tend to use it. You see, I'm saying this because I'm really into body language, and I feel like when we're talking to the computer, it's very different, and so maybe the message I send across cannot be the same. So that's why I'm asking this question.
I mean, when you're operating with your body language, especially with your hands, and when you're trying to communicate in the client-friendly manner, so you have drawn up, for example, the structure, and you're trying to show and explain something on your structure, showing up like what is described here and here and here, then in this way you already show your enthusiasm. And of course, everything comes with the practice. So after practicing this several times, I'm pretty sure that you, Shivangi, Dennis, Liam, Rebecca, Victoria, Lena, Margaret, and everyone else could become a pro consultant or at least a pro candidate and make it to the bar.
Okay.
Does this make sense?
Yes, yes, it does. Yes, thank you.
All right, cool. Does anyone else have additional questions? If that's not the case, then we will probably go to the most interesting part of the webinar, because I would also like to use the opportunity to tell you how we can help you in your future career prospects in order how to get those job offers. And we would basically like to walk you through, together with my partner Gaurav and our team, through the process which we're following with each and every candidate. And Shivangi is just one of our best examples for it. So you can imagine the collaboration with us as a flat rate coaching. So it's basically, it's a coaching all-in program. From where do you stand right now? We do whatever it takes until you get your offer from the leading consulting company. And we follow the very simple approach through the 7 steps. So we will basically start together with you with setting up the right objectives. So where do you stand right now as a student at Lancaster University? What are your strengths and weaknesses? And then basically we will also define what are your objectives. So what are the consulting firms? Where do you want to go? What are the positions you want to apply? What are the regions where you want to go? Is it UK, or are you going to get back to your home countries, etc. Stuff like this. So we define your future key objectives, the result of our collaboration. Then nowadays, polishing your documents also becomes increasingly more important, because you probably already know how to create a CV from your career center at Lancaster University or at any other career center from the university. But documents in consulting have their own specifics. So, and a CV, and especially a cover letter, which is written for a consulting company, differs well a lot from cover letters which are written to all other companies in all other positions. So we will give this sort of very specific consulting touch to your documents to make it easily screenable to recruiters, so that you get easily invited to your actual interviews. One of the most critical steps is basically step number 3. This is about networking and referral strategy, because you already know nowadays that during the crisis, the pandemic, since the last year, the number of intakes at the consulting company has been significantly reduced compared to 2019 figures. And nowadays, applying through LinkedIn doesn't make sense at all. This is like the worst thing which you can do. Because if you apply through LinkedIn, the chances are pretty high that you will not even get an answer. The second worst option is actually just to apply conveniently through the online application platform, through the website of the company. This is in 90% or even 95% of the cases, a pretty guaranteed way to receive an automated email with a rejection, because you would probably not pass the automatic screening. And the key trick here is to leverage your networking activities. So basically to find someone in the company who is already working there on a position as a senior associate, manager, principal, or a partner, who can recommend you for an opening in that company, who can actually forward your documents to the recruiting team, so to the HR team. And this is where we come in play, because we will help you to leverage effectively your own connections, to gain new connections, to help you to connect in a better way to the people with a consulting mindset, and to ask them for recommendations and to get referred within the company. Or we will also help you with our network. I mean, together with Gaurav, we have spent more than 12 years in consulting, working in all different regions across the globe, or at least across Eurasia. And we, of course, have all the contacts with all major consulting firms on managers, principals, and partner levels in all key consulting firms across different regions. And of course, together we have helped already more than 600 people who are now staffed and placed in all those companies all around the world. So this is kind of a network where you can have a get an access, where we would be very pleased to serve you and to help you out to get your CV cover letter polished together with us, and then refer very good candidates directly to a partner team. So you can actually imagine this in the following way. I have a good manager working in the company of your choice, and I would basically say, like, hey, Michael, I actually have a good candidate. I think that Shivangi and Dennis Silva and Magdalena from Lancaster University are really a good fit, and they, all three of them, could be a good extension to your team. So maybe you could just put a word for them and forward their documents to your HR team. And of course, Michael already knows me, because we either have worked in the past, or I have helped him, or he has helped me before. So he knows also the quality of people I'm referring to is high enough. And he's also incentivized within the company, because for every employee he refers who successfully passes the process, he also gets a sort of a bonus, maybe like a vacation trip or a monetary bonus. So referrals and networking is really one of the keys into breaking and into consulting and getting the interview invites. So this is really important, and we're here also to help you out with this. But this is just the 50% of the way. Of course, one of the most essential part is the interview preparation. So after Shivangi has got invited by McKinsey, it's already a great job. But then we also need to make sure that Shivangi actually passes this very tough NOT assessment. And we are helping with the preparation, very tailored preparation for every specific phase, for the tests, for the first interview round, for the second interview round, and especially for the final interview round with partners, when the pressure really gradually increases and it becomes very critical to pass this third final round in order to make sure that you get this offer. Because the key objective of our collaboration is pretty simple. We have just two very simple KPIs. for every collaboration with our clients. So the first one is the number of offers which the client, our client gets, and the second is its happiness rate. So we want to make you happy. We want you that at the end of our collaboration, or as a result of our collaboration, you would be able to share a great feedback with us and send to the VIP group your results. It will be, for example, an email which you have received from the HR team saying like, dear Madalena, it was a pleasure having you last Friday in our office interviews. Our congratulations. We would like to submit you an offer. And could you please share with us your postal address and passport details so that we can send it to you in a hard copy? Best regards, Maria from the HR team. This is exactly, so this very simple email of happiness is actually what we are really obtaining for, and what we, together with Gaurav, together with our entire team, are fully committed to deliver to you. Because we want to make you happy. We want you to send us a WhatsApp message saying like, hi, Andre, I have just received an offer from BCG or Bain. I am so overwhelmed. Thank you very much to you and the entire team for making this happen for me. These are exactly the moments which makes my heart beat even faster. And that's why we are so passionate about what we are doing, especially nowadays when it's so hard to get the job. So we are here basically to help you, to receive your offers. And afterwards, we, of course, are happy to help you to make the right decision. So you will receive probably more than one offer with our help. And we will help you also to make the right decision. What is the right firm, the right geography, the right position for you to take, which correlates exactly to your long-term career goals. And then, last but not very least, it is our onboarding and career growth program. So how to become a star consultant, how not only to get the offer, but to really thrive in that profession. Because as I mentioned to you at the very beginning of this webinar when I introduced myself, I was very privileged to get promoted just after 5 months with Roland Berger, something which is like totally insane. I literally don't know any other person in the company in my grade who has been promoted just after 5 months. Everyone needed to wait 18 to 24 months. And whenever we will help you to share this experience from Gaurav and from myself of working with the top consulting firms and doing really great careers out of it. This is extremely great know-how of how to manage yourself, how to manage all others, how to manage clients, how to manage your project leader, how to manage your boss, your mentor who is responsible for your promotions, how to get those promotions faster, how to survive, not only to survive, but just to really thrive in this profession, so that it's not a job for you, it's really a profession. Of course, I mean, I can talk a lot about it, but for instance, I would simply like to ask Shivangi, as one of our best clients, basically to speak about her own experience of working together with us and how does that been working with you so far.
Yeah, thanks, Andre, for all that explanation. So just like how he has mentioned about the entire thing, so I would just put it this way. So when I graduated from Lancaster. I was exploring how to enter the consulting world on my own, and I was, networking on my own and gathering information like you all on my own, solving cases. Right, but the thing is that from the CV, like from the beginning, the first thing is the CV, right? So getting a feedback from a career expert is something else, as you get from comparing to your peers or a consultant, right? So the CV that I have now, after Andre has reviewed it, is completely different. So this is super critical because most of the people try and apply online on LinkedIn and just does not work. I have been in that position as well. So right from the CV to the networking to the interview process, case solving is the most critical thing in the entire process. So just following his feedback has really improved my progress. I am now slowly getting confident that, hey, okay, if there will be an interview, I will be performing well, and how to perform well and eventually get the offer. So the support is right from your documents to the choice of companies you want to work in. Like, for example, I want to work in the UK or in certain European countries. So he has very nicely listed down the target companies for me based on my preference, and we are targeting over there. So I understand that Lancaster has an international crowd. Many people are from all over the place. So based on the preference, now I have the clarity what are the firms that I need to target and how I should prepare for those. And he basically keeps sharing the offers his clients are getting, and we keep on encouraging each other. I also solve cases with some of his other clients, which you can see performing in previous webinars. So the best thing is that it's like a group discussion. Everybody is giving feedback and cases to everybody. So it's a collaborative activity which really helps your performance and your learning experience. And I'm sure it's just a matter of a few weeks and months that I'll be getting an offer in my choice of company and geography, which is super important to me. And I also look forward to the onboarding career growth, because as a consultant, performing initially well is super important. So I look forward to all of that. And anybody, all of you can connect with me after the webinar also. I have mentioned my LinkedIn profile. We can discuss one-on-one. Being a fellow Lancaster alumni, I can understand your position and where you're coming from. So if you want to understand anything, you can get in touch with me. Feel free to get in touch with me, and happy to add value in any way.
Yeah, Shivangi, I think you have touched base a really very good thing. Can you maybe tell a little bit more about your experience from our VIP result coaching group, our small family community, and all other mentees? How did you like our group sessions?
So what I like about the group sessions is that when I'm solving cases with 3 people, I'm getting feedback in 3 different versions of feedback, right? So I have a lot to reflect on. And this is very different from when you practice something on your own. And I also become the interviewer. And for example, I have a teammate, Omar, and Renzo, I gave the interview to him. So be it consulting or any other job interview, when you get to be the interviewer, you really get to understand the psychology. And I think that's a game changer when the person in front of you is attempting very seriously. And I also give very difficult, curveball situations. And I then reflect that, hey, I can also, think in this manner. I should also be ready for these answers. So the activities are very interesting. On the WhatsApp group also, we keep on discussing cases. Gaurav keeps us giving, situations and cases to work on the weekend, and he gives feedback in his own time. So it's super interactive. The feedback is very personalized. Andre clearly knows what are the things I need to improve on, and that's what I like because he really understands where the person wants to go, and that has been a very comforting aspect of the entire thing. And I look forward to probably giving case to some of you in future, being part of the group discussions.
Yeah, that would be really very nice. Thank you very much, Shivangi. And by the way, guys, please use the chat function or simply turn on your cameras and speak if you have any questions to ask to Shivangi, myself, and Gaurav. And I would also like to give the word to Gaurav to raise additional points.
Yep. Thanks, Andre. And yeah, of course, if you have any questions, please feel free to direct to any of us now or even afterwards. Yeah. I would, love to have you in the VIP family, as Shivangi was mentioning. Yeah. Great. I mean, we live to see some of you guys making that consulting dream come true, and happy to help you in whatever way we can, so that you get there. All our experience, all our successes and failures, yeah, basically are ultimately getting chiseled, and you guys are going to benefit out of it. Okay, so I look forward to seeing you all, in fact, yeah, in the VIP family.
Do we have any questions?
Yes, we have one question from Devansh. Sorry, Devansh, can you please turn on your camera, unmute yourself, quickly introduce yourself, and ask your question?
Just a sec.
Mm-hmm. Hi.
Hi, Devansh.
I'm not able to see myself. Is my video on? Can you?
Yes, we can
I'm not
see
able
you.
to see
Hi.
myself on the screen. Okay, hello. I'm actually a first year undergraduate student. I am studying economics and politics, and I'm looking at consultancy as one of my career options in the future. And yeah, my question was basically that if you had the opportunity to start over, what would you do differently and why?
Gaurav, would you like to start?
I mean, is it directed to us or is it directed to Shivangi?
Yeah, I think it's directed to us.
I assume that, yes, but even Shivangi would be well qualified to answer this, I assume.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I think that's a good question, and of course we always reflect on it and think about it. I mean, to be very honest, I wouldn't do anything differently. Yeah, I loved my technology coaching. Yeah, sometimes in a day I do almost 8 to 10 coaching sessions, and I'm not tired, which means I just love it, right? So yeah, I don't think I'll do anything differently.
Okay, I have a little bit different personal perspective. Devansh, thank you very much, first of all, for attending our webinar, and thank you very much for your question. In my eyes, I mean, if I were to start nowadays, I would definitely get help, because when I was out there, I mean, I didn't give or I didn't make just more than 150 or 200 cases just for fun, but there was literally at that time no preparation process. And nowadays you can actually get so much help out from the internet or from different resources. Now it's a completely different game. You can prepare way faster. You can work smarter and not harder, which is just the yeah, I mean, you can even benefit from the experts like we with Gaurav, who have already done that job. And back in my time, 12 years back, this was not available on the market simply. So this is one. And secondly, a funny thing, I should have taken 1 month break before my final exam and master's thesis submission and starting in consulting, because I submitted my master's thesis on the 27th of February, applied for a visa, moved out of my apartment. The next day I was sitting in the train from Munich to Münster, which is in Germany, to headquarters of my company. And then the rock and roll began. And then I was like middle in the project. I was like jumping from one session exam up to the hell directly. So I would have taken a 1 month break and enjoy some vacation. But other than this, consulting work, I think for me it was a very interesting journey from Ukraine to Germany, from Germany to France, Netherlands, Belgium, Poland, Sweden, Austria, Switzerland, Southeastern Europe, Ukraine, again, Russia, South Korea, Middle East, Singapore. I was really excited about it.
Right.
If I can just add for Devansh, from a preparation perspective, I can add something very important. So being at university, you have so much data around you. And when you're at university, you're so curious, right? You're exploring things, and consulting being one of those. Devansh, I'm sure you're putting your head into a lot of things, right? So what I would like to change is my approach. After many months, it has taken me a lot of months to really figure out what is the right way to go about things, especially in consulting and the preparation, right? So I have solved cases on various platforms and it did not help. Then in between, I was getting confused. What's the right approach? So getting help, like Andre said, is very important, and it really speeds up the process. And it almost gives you a success guarantee, and that's a very comforting space to be in. So now I feel that yes, I'm in the right hands, and I just need to work now, right? Whatever Andre is telling me, I'm just doing that without any tensions and stress. So just work smart, and yeah, that's one feedback that I have.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right, thank you, Shivangi, and thank you, Devansh, very much. By the way, I just want to remind you that if you want to receive the goodies from the webinar, which we are just about to talk in a while, could you please register yourself to that webinar, and also for our upcoming webinars, so that we can stay in touch and we can share all those materials with you per email moving forward. Okay, so does anyone else have a question for us? Feel free to use this opportunity. Otherwise, Alina, I would give the word for you. Maybe someone is also still typing into the chat, but you can also show up, turn on your camera and microphone and just speak.
Yeah, okay, so I will continue. And guys, so next steps. I just want to remind you that if you want to receive our goodies, please fill in the form so we can have your email data and then we can send it to you. And the participants of today's webinar will receive the goodies, as I said. So this is brief presentation of the webinar. 3 books for the successful case preparation and the example of the successful case solving, which we discussed today. And also, you can book a free consultation with me to discuss your current situation. Then we can discuss it very detailed at what point you are currently standing and which results you wanted to achieve. And we can discuss how you can do this. So please, if you want to do this, I will be very happy to help you with your request. And also, I really want to ask you again to fill in the webinar satisfaction survey. We will share the link now in the chat. Guys, please fill this form. This is extremely important for us, and this will help us to improve in the future. So we will give you time to share your opinion with us, and we will know how we can make the webinars better and more useful for you. Yes, so just 1 second, I will share the link again. Yes, and we really want to invite all of you for our free webinars this February. So we will have 3 more webinars, and they will be each Wednesday. Here you can see this is Central European time, so it will be 1 hour less for your time in UK. And the first webinar is going to be the next Wednesday on the 10th of February. This is going to be McKinsey second round case interview simulation plus a personal fit part. So it's going to be 4 p.m. Central European time. Next webinar is going to be on 7th of February. It is going to be BCG first round interview simulation, same time, and on 24th of February is going to be Bain first round interview simulation. So we really hope that you will join us, and these webinars will be same interactive as today. So we really hope to see you there and wait for you there. Yes, and also please follow us on social medias. There, Andre and Gaurav, they share a lot of useful information from their own experience. So there are a lot of different entertainment posts and informational posts for you, and some tips and tricks how you can prepare for your case interviews and how you can polish your documents, as well as we make there some announcements about the webinars. So we'll also be happy if you join our social medias, and as well as our website. And you can also book session, like a free consultation with me on our website. I will also send it to you, all this information in the follow-up letter with the presentation, with all goodies and all the contact details. So if you have any questions or any suggestions, you can always contact us, and we will be happy to help you and support you.
Yeah, and now it's also a very important time to say thank you very much for your participation. But before we actually do this, I would like to, on behalf of our entire team, on behalf of Gaurav, of the team preparing and staying behind it, I would like to say thank you very much for Shivangi for being so brave and courageous today, for playing the candidate in front of the broader public of your peer colleagues. And I would like to say thank you very much again to Madalena as well as Fadi for helping us to organize and host this event. So ladies, would you like maybe also to take a word and speak on behalf of your university and also share the feedback with others? So Shivangi or Madalena, would you like to say anything?
Hi. I personally really liked it. I think it was very insightful. This is a new topic for me because I'm now applying for consulting firms and I really like it. And I think the members that joined us really liked it as well. And thank you so much on behalf of the Consulting Society as well as on behalf of Lancaster University.
Yeah, thank you very much, Madalena. It was the pleasure is all ours. Shivangi?
Yeah, I just have to say thank you for organizing this, Andre, and giving me the opportunity. This is very special because it's my own university, and just looking forward to seeing many of the students being part of the VIP team. And like I said earlier, they all can reach out to me anytime, and if they want to have a feedback conversation, just want to get a deeper understanding as to how things work, ready to help always.
Yeah, thank you very much, Shivangi, as well. Does anyone from the audience would like to speak and say thank you for all the participants? You have a unique chance to do that right now. So if you would like to say thank you, could you please simply turn on your camera and speak?
Yeah, I want to say thank you because I found it really interesting just to see how someone else approaches a case and how like criticism would go and what could be improved and all of that. And I really must say that I've got a lot of respect for you, Shivangi, that you did it, that you said, okay, I'm going to present in front of like, I don't know, 15 people. I found that really nice. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Rebecca. It was a pleasure to help you. Anyone else? All right, then if it's not the case, then I thank you very much on behalf of the entire team, on behalf of organizers of this event, on behalf of Shivangi, on behalf of Gaurav and our moderator, Lena, as well as the entire team behind for taking part in this webinar. And we are looking towards to continue to having you in future in our webinars, and especially within our VIP clients, because we are committed to deliver you the best outcomes and to help you to get your offers with all the major consulting firms in these very challenging times. Thank you very much.